Okay, so how's the volume? We'll give everyone a few minutes to get in here and then we'll get started. Is the volume okay? Can you hear me? Am I muted? No, the volume on my voice, not the volume on the chart. If you noticed, I added a new chat feature here. So that's fun. We got moderator roles in here now, so I'm gonna explain why that's a thing and why we can't have nice things in the world. So we'll wait about. Oh, I need to change the title of this, don't I? This needs to be 11.8 or 1.8. Oh, let me send out a link to a tweet. Let me send out a tweet so we can tell everyone that it's live. And then we'll get started. Man, it's crazy to think that it's already the 8th of January. This year's just flying by already. Crazy. All right, let me send this tweet out. All right, so let me just, because this is going to be a thing now, let me just start off by saying nothing in this channel should be construed as financial advice. Let me go ahead and actually just read the formal thing like a robot. Let me read my disclaimer that I have now. This is going to be a part of our daily stream now. So apparently people are too simple-minded to understand that the content I'm providing should not be construed as actionable advice. The information you receive from Bitcoin Schmitcoin or the Bitcoin Schmitcoin Trading Community is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness of any particular purpose. The information contained herein or provided from or through this or any other content created by Bitcoin Schmitcoin or the Bitcoin Schmitcoin Trading Community is not intended to be and does not constitute financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other advice. The information from or through this content is general in nature and is not specific to you, the user, or anyone else. You should not make any decision, financial, excuse me, let me reread that. You should not make any decision, financial, investment, trading, or otherwise based on the information received through the stream or the content provided by the Bitcoin Schmitcoin Trading Community. So I'm going to explain what happened a couple of days ago and why the stream got cut short. So I had an individual join my trading community. I'll get the dates out here so we can get this all lined up. I should have been more prepared for this, but I'm not gonna name this guy's name because I'm not an asshole and I'm not gonna dox him. But it should be pretty easy to figure out if you follow the rabbit trail here. So last Thursday, I banned someone from my trading community. Prior to that, I think it was on Wednesday, they joined my trading community, and they weren't really jiving with like the way that the community flows and like the way that we had the conversations, and just wasn't really a good fit. So, you know, I tried to talk to him, and I told him, you know, I was like, listen, like, you don't need to be so aggressive with responding to people's criticism. Like, they're just trying to help you, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, he started getting mad at me about it. And so I said, all right, listen, like, you know, I don't think this community is for you. So I'm just going to refund you. So I provided him a full refund, which I definitely didn't have to do, but I provided him a refund, and I said, all right, like, let's go our separate ways. And he didn't like that. So what he did was he decided to look up some of my personal information, and then post it all over Twitter, including my home address, my first and last name, and then just tried to create some disparaging comments about me. Basically, what ended up happening was what he thought was going to happen was he was going to be the savior because he thought he was outing me as like some sort of scam artist, blah, blah, blah. But anyone who's been following me for any length of time knows that I'm very honest with what my educational background is, what my trading background is, and where my knowledge begins and where it ends, right? So this guy thought he was providing some sort of revelation, and by releasing this information, he thought people were going to get behind him, and it really blew up in his face. Because what he ended up doing was, on the stream, he posted my home address down to my apartment number with my first and last name. The first and last name I don't really mind so much. I figured my first and last name would get out there eventually. It's not really that hard to find out, unless you're just like some weirdo that really gets off on that kind of stuff. You know, most people wouldn't do that. But he released my private information, my first and last name. My first and last name is Nathan Hadley. I've been very upfront with what my educational background is. I got a degree in aerospace engineering in 2012. I started trading crypto about a year ago. You can see my full history on my Reddit account, Bitcoin Schmitcoin, Bitcoin_Schmidt. Is my stream offline? Oh, for some reason OBS decided not to. Okay, so OBS shit out on me. What was the last thing you guys heard? I'll jump back to what you guys last heard. Sorry about that. What was the last thing you guys heard? Okay, so I got a degree in 2012 in aerospace engineering. I worked in the aerospace industry for 5 to 6 years. And I live in Atlanta. Like, this is all public information. The only thing that wasn't public was my first and last name, which he released, and then of course my home address. And now he's been threatening, since this is obviously blowing up in his face because it was a super dick move to make. He's saying he's gonna file a complaint with the SEC that I'm giving out financial advice without a license, which I'm not. I'm probably one of the few streamers and trading communities that I make a specific effort not to give financial advice, because that's like my whole goal, is that I want to like provide you guys the tools to do this stuff yourself. Like I'm not trying to hand feed anyone information, and I'm not trying to you know, like shill any coins or anything. Like I'm probably one of the least shilly coin figureheads out there, right? So anyway, so this guy's threatening to file a lawsuit against me, which is fine. He's gonna lose. It's pretty obvious that he's wrong, and I have a record. I have a very thick record of this guy's history of doing things like this, so I'm not too worried about it. But what I was worried about was actually my personal safety, because when he posted that he knew where I was, that he knew where I lived, he was saying that I'm not close. He was making threats, and so I had to abruptly end the stream and call the cops, because A, I didn't want to get swatted. B, I didn't want some sort of disturbance in my you know, in my actual community, in my apartment complex. Like I didn't want to have anything like that happen. So I had to go through and do a lot of housekeeping immediately, because I didn't know what the extent of this dude's motives were. So someone's asking, why would he be so upset at you? I don't know. From the get-go, he was, I mean, the people from my trading community can vouch for this, and I have the text records, you know, like I took very detailed screenshots of all these accounts, but he basically, he wasn't very receptive to criticism, and he would spam a lot of information that wasn't right, and people were trying to correct him, and he didn't like it. So on last Thursday, I woke up to a bunch of people complaining in my community, like, hey, can you talk to this guy, blah blah blah. So I talked to him, and I ended up asking him to leave my community, and I refunded him his money, and he decided to have a meltdown. So I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat right now are from my community, and they can totally vouch for this. Like, I'm not just trying to play victim here. Like, the guy just went off the rails. But I know who it was. I have all of his information, and you know, if I have to, then I'll file a cease and desist and come at him legally. But I really don't want to do that. I want it to just go away, so I can just go about my life, right? Like, that's not how I want to spend my days, is in frivolous lawsuits. But some people get off on that, you know. Like, some people don't have a lot of control of their own lives, so they seek control outwardly in other people's lives, and I suspect that's sort of what's going on here. But anyway, I'm not going to be bullied. Like, I'm not going to take the guy's shit. The only reason why I cut off the stream in the first place was so that I could address the safety issue, and at least get on the Atlanta Police Department's radar and let them know, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is the individual that's threatening me. Yeah. Anyway, do you guys have any questions about any of that stuff? I'm an open book, you know. Like, let's get some Q&A out of the way so we can just knock it out and just hopefully never talk about this dude again. What's going on with the market today? Don't worry. I'm gonna have a nice long stream today. We're gonna talk about everything. I really feel like I need to address this issue first. Fuck that dude. Back to charts. All right, fair enough. So what caused the dip today? I think that there's a little bit of speculation here, but apparently what happened was the website Crypto Market Cap I'll pull that up. Crypto. If you don't know what crypto market cap is, you need to up your game, son. So crypto market cap is like the go-to resource for crypto, for the different market caps for coins and their trends and all that shit. But apparently, what happened was, crypto market cap took off the Korean exchanges from their market caps. So they removed BitHum, they removed Corbit, and what was the other one? There was another one they removed. They removed 3 of them. But they removed them from the crypto market cap. So Ripple took a huge shit, Bitcoin took a huge shit, and basically what happened was it created the illusion of a drop in market cap because of the way that they removed the Korean exchanges. And so I think a lot of people reacted to that, or large players exploited this sort of news. And yeah, I mean, you can see here it's like kind of rebounding. Volume's starting to pick up on the lower time frames. But I think that's what caused the dip. I don't think it was like anything substantial. I think it was just a miscommunication or some pissed off Koreans. I don't really know. Oh, it's coin market cap. I just say crypto market cap because that's usually what I Google. I don't ever really type it. Coin market, excuse me. Forgive me. Coinmarketcap.com. That's where you go. That's where you find, like, whenever someone says top market cap coins, they're referring to, you know, like top 10 here. Oh damn, Tron got number 10 already. That's crazy. Yeah, these are getting shuffled around a lot lately, right? Like Stellar. Pff. Monero got knocked out. It's crazy. A lot of movement going on. Ether's back in number 2. Ripple's number 3. Bitcoin Cash still holding down number 4. Litecoin's just getting shoved down slowly but surely. Rayblock's climbing up too. Anyway, let's talk about Bitcoin here. So someone asks, what's wrong with Ripple? Bitcoin Schmitcoin is heavy in it. I'm not heavy in Ripple. I don't own any Ripple right now. So that's not in my portfolio. I sold all my Ripple. I'm actually going to explain why I think long term I'm bearish on Ripple, or XRP rather. I'll explain that here in a second. But let's go through this current trend on Bitcoin, and then we'll move down to Ripple, because I think Ripple's an interesting case right now. So if we let's zoom out to the 1-day chart here, as we like to do. So we see here. Let me get my my Wacom tablet here. So we see here that all right. So here's the parabolic curve right here. Here's the envelope, right? So here's the upper and lower boundary of the parabolic envelope, and here's the linear trend, the purple, upper, lower. And you can see here it's finding support on this parabolic curve. It's touched it, if we zoom in, I think it's like 4 times, right? 5 times almost. I need to get more RAM. I'm in the process of getting that right now. I'm ordering it today, but I'm gonna upgrade. I'm at 8 gigs right now, and it's just not enough. I'm gonna go balls to the wall and get like 32. But you can see here. So here's the parabolic curve. Here's the upper boundary of it, and touch it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times here, and it's finding support on it at the moment. Really nice support actually, because it bounced. It went, you know, penetrated it and bounced right off. So where does that leave us? If we look at the 120-minute view, maybe even the 240-minute view, disregard this thing, this harmonic here. This needs to go away now. I believe this has been invalidated, but we're seeing a nice retrace on Bitcoin at the moment. But I'm not Okay, so there is a case to be argued that right now this is reaccumulation rather than distribution. So for a while I've been arguing this is distribution. And I'm not swayed to think that it's not. This could still be last point of supply. But I think there is a case to be argued that this is actually reaccumulation. But I would need to see, there's a couple of things that I need to see in order to convince me personally of that. And I'm just not seeing those signs yet. I'm not going to like discuss any of that stuff right now because that could be a lengthy discussion. So, so we're still being confined within this trading range here. You see, it found support perfectly on this automatic reaction that I labeled forever ago, right? It bounced off of it perfectly here. And now it's kind of just sitting in the middle, right in this like middle no man's land where it's been languishing for a while. And now it's there for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th time. So this can be interesting to see if it breaks back up or if it continues downward. So we need to keep a close eye in here. This is in here. I would consider this to be a no trade zone, but that's not financial advice. But I would consider this to be a no trade zone right in here because it's a trading range. Inside a trading range, it is designed by large operators, large holders of Bitcoin, the big dicks in the market, right? Like this is designed to wring you of all of your money. It's designed to just torture you. It's designed to make you think the market's going to go up when it actually goes down, and when it goes down, it actually goes up. And right now, the guys with all the money, they're testing the market to see which way they're going to go. Are they going to push it up or are they going to push it down? And in here, this is a big no trade zone in here because you're just going to get chopped up to pieces. Above and below the trading range are good. High risk, high reward if you're shorting. High risk, high reward if you're going long. So keep that in mind, right? And in the meantime, I just recommend playing alts because they're performing beautifully right now. The alts are performing really well right now, but in the meantime, keep an eye on this. If we're looking at the low time frames, it does look like it's kind of bear flagging here. A little bit, but I'm generally starting to steer away from things lower than 1 hour. But for the sake of discussion, you see a very clear descending trend line. You see this like bear flaggy sort of thing, and we see the decreasing volume as the price rises. So this is textbook bear flag territory. So keep an eye out on that if you're trying to go long. Volume is going to be your friend, right? Right. Okay. Before we get out of this, before we get out of Bitcoin land, do you guys want to? Do you guys have any questions about this stuff? Hello from the island of Cyprus. Oh, wow. Well, hello from the cold-ass southern part of the United States. You guys have any questions about Bitcoin before we move on? When I say volume is going to be your friend, I mean it's the idea that volume is going to confirm a trend. So let me go to the 5 minute. So if we see increase, so we obviously there's an increasing trend here. There's a trend of increasing prices, right? Higher lows, higher highs, but the volume's actually going down. This sort of price activity where the price moves but the volume goes down is called divergence, and it typically indicates weakening momentum in this direction, which could signify that there's further lows in Bitcoin's future. But if we see volume start to pick up, or even just flatlining is okay. that gives you confidence in price growth, basically. So you just want to see the price move with flat or increasing volume. Anytime the price moves, whether it's up or down and the volume is going down, this indicates this sort of price activity is a low confidence move. Okay, so I want to discuss Ripple, and why, although I'm long-term bearish on it, I'm still buying it. Okay, I just sold off the last of my Ripple. I bought some more Siacoin with it, which wouldn't it be my luck that it shit this morning, but I have high hopes for Siacoin. But if you're looking at the chart of XRP, it's pretty bullish actually. But I want to explain. Why I'm long-term bearish on Ripple and why I think it's likely to not be a contender long-term. Okay, so when you look at how XRP is actually utilized within its within Ripple. Okay, so a lot of people don't know that Ripple does not necessarily mean XRP. XRP is the native token of Ripple, but on the Ripple network, it's not required to use XRP. There are some advantages to using XRP on the Ripple network, like faster transaction times. And I will admit that when I use XRP to go from between exchanges, honestly, it's a pleasure, right? Like I can get XRP between Kraken and Bittrex in and out in less than 2 to 3 minutes. XRP is great. I think XRP as a token is great. I think Ripple is great. I think all of this is great. But what I don't think is going to bode well for XRP the token, XRP in the future, is the simple aspect of supply and demand. Okay, so what a lot of people think, this is the speculation, right, is that XRP is going to be used by large institutions for their bank-to-bank transactions, cross-border transactions, and this is how they're going to do it, right? So if you have, let's say you have institution 1, I1, and you have institution 2, I2. If they want to go via the Ripple network, right, then what they have to do is they say you want to go from say USA to England or something, right? So what happens is say you want to send $10 to an account in England and transfer it into pounds, right? So I'm gonna give a very like a very high level overview of how this actually works. And correct me if I'm wrong in any of this stuff, because I'm not a developer, I'm not a programmer by nature, so I could get some of these technicals wrong. So feel free to scream at me if I get any of this wrong. So say institution 1 wants to send to institution 2. They go through things called gateways. So institution 1 says, I have $10, and they throw it into their gateway. Let's say gateway 1. And what happens is this $10 gets converted into, hopefully, the goal is that it gets converted into XRP, but it could get converted into XRP. It could get converted into Ether, Bitcoin, although probably not Bitcoin because it's slow as fuck. And then this XRP gets sent to Gateway 2, where this then gets converted back into pounds. And then this gets sent into institution 2. So the speculation is that as and this is already going on right now. Like institutions are starting to adopt the Ripple network because it's great. It's a really good technology. So the speculation is that institutions are going to start buying XRP because they need it, because it's faster, right? Because it's the native token of Ripple, it's faster, and it's easier to obtain. Because what happens is, I think it's like Ripple, the network, owns 2/3 of all tokens, of all XRP. And I'm not even going to go into the conspiracy theory of like, oh, they're going to dump it on the market and it's going to crash. I'm not even going to go into that because I think it's ridiculous. But what is something to note is that these institutions aren't going to places like Bitfinex. They're not going to places like Bittrex or Kraken. They're going straight to Ripple. They're getting their tokens from Ripple, the company, right? And so this idea that as time goes on, XRP is going to increase in value because of the institutional demand from Institution 1 and Institution 2, it just doesn't add up, because the demand doesn't come through the exchanges. It comes 100% OTC. It only goes through Ripple. And Ripple owns 2/3 of the damn tokens. So this idea that like this demand is somehow going to raise the prices of exchange tokens just doesn't add up. Not only that, but the idea that that institutions need to hoard large amounts of them is also not true. If you go on Ripple's website, they tell you straight up, I think it's in their terms of service, that in order for an institution to perform 1 year's worth of transactions, a large institution to perform 1 year's worth of transactions, all they need to own is $10 worth of XRP to satisfy all of their transactional needs. So it just doesn't add up to me that like XRP is going to see these like sustainable large long-term values. I know that sounds confusing because I've been saying bullish arguments, and I think what's happening right now is a lot of people just don't understand this concept of speculation, speculation versus actual demand. Like the things that are pushing the prices up right now, it's not actual institutional demand, it's speculators. And I think what we're going to see is a large retracement overall as it finds its middle ground here between, you know, insane prices and rock bottom prices. Before I clear this off, do you guys have any questions about what I just said? Ripple could be used. Ripple could close the whole net. Oh, yeah. So this guy's saying Ripple could close the whole network on its own or by some others at any given time, so it's only owned by Ripple themselves. Yeah, and that's the other thing, is that Ripple's centralized. The network is centralized, right? And so it's entirely possible that Institution 1 and Institution 2 use the Ripple network on a closed system that the layman doesn't even have access to. Like it could be an entire closed system that like you and I don't even have access to. You know, like we don't have access into that closed system, so our tokens might become potentially worthless in the future. So, so what is this guy saying? There are only 3 companies to use XRP this year, confirmed by Ripple. I don't think 3 companies is enough to justify the market cap. Just my 2 cents. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and like I said before, it's entirely possible that they don't use XRP, or they don't use Ether, or they don't use Bitcoin, right? Like they could give me my pen. What is going on here? Okay. It's entirely possible that they don't use any of these tokens. It's entirely possible that they use something like Bank of America bucks, right? Like BOAT, like they use like Bank of America tokens or something, or Wells Fargo tokens. You know, they don't have to use any of these tokens, so I don't know. This is a rant that I've been on for a while now, and I have yet to see a counter argument to it. So hold on a second, guys. Let me let my dog out. She's like super excited that her little friend came out. So let me let her out into the out of my bedroom. 1 second. So someone's asking, how does this hold value if it's a closed system? It doesn't. That's the whole idea. It doesn't hold value. That's what I'm arguing. So if we look at, okay, so however, if we look at XRP from a technical standpoint, it's pretty bullish, surprisingly. So let's talk about that, because it's kind of funny that this is happening. So if we look at XRP, although we're seeing decrease, so let's call this 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time we're seeing a rise, we're seeing it on decreasing volume here. Overall, we're seeing a decreasing volume trend, and as I stated before, this is called divergence, right? I think we might get one new high out of this run. Maybe push it up to like $5 or something like that. But if we're looking at the Bollinger Bands for XRP, right? It looks pretty bullish, honestly, because we're seeing this nice squeeze here, right? Squeeze, and now a squeeze here, which usually results in another just like irrationally strong pump. So I would not at all be surprised to see a new all-time high at a Ripple before any substantial retracement happens. Like, it's very bullish. It's in this nice ascending channel. Like, all the signs of like a bull market are here, right? Like, so I think XRP still remains a good hold or a good buy. The only reason why I sold my XRP is because I wanted to play other tokens that I found to be more profitable. But yeah, I mean, it still remains bullish from a technical standpoint. I would expect to see a breakout like any time now within the next day, or between the next 1 to 3 days. I would expect to see a pretty significant markup in XRP price. But you never know. Maybe this leads to a massive shit and it just crashes. But it looks pretty bullish to me. Even on like the lower time frames, if you're looking at like the 1 hour, there's a lot of fractals going on with XRP, and I'll point these out real quick. Let's get rid of you, and let's do the 2 hour view actually. So I'll just point out a few similarities between all of these pushes. So we obviously see the huge peak. So let's call this peak. We see a peak. We see a peak. We see a peak. We see a big automatic reaction here. Say AR. AR, right? And then it goes up, and then it kind of just like levels out. So it goes up, and it kind of levels out, up, it kind of levels out, up, it kind of levels out, then up, it kind of levels out. And right now we're kind of near the bottom because of the Bitcoin move. But if you look at like the way this actually moves, and we draw like a little trading range here. Let me change my colors. So if we say this is a trading range like that, that was a pretty good straight line. Hope you guys are impressed by that. Nice little trading range here. Nice little trading range here. And once again, a nice trading range here. So right now it's at the bottom of the trading range. It needs to mark up to about, what is this? About 280. So let's 280 is when it's going to start to, if it's going to break out, this is when the volume's going to start picking up, is once it gets up here toward this 280 mark, 275, maybe even low $3 values, you know, like low $3 values. That's when we're most likely going to see volume picking up, if it's going to, you know, see a rise, because that's when we see it here, right? I mean, I could do something like this again, but traditionally that's what we see, right? Like, so it tests the upper boundary, and then the volume starts to pick up, tests the upper boundary, then volume starts to pick up, and so on and so forth. So I'm still pretty bullish on XRP in the short and medium term. But long term, I'm talking long term, like years, I'm bearish on it. So Ryan Sturmer is saying, don't trade the trading range, don't get chopped up. Yeah, I agree. My general rule, and one that I like to preach to the guys in my community, is like, unless you're really, really experienced with trading highly volatile markets, I really don't recommend trading inside the trading range. For me and the guys in my community, especially the new guys, I really recommend either buying below the trading range if you want to get really speculative, or just wait for the breakout. Wait for something that's going to say, okay, confidence of continuation, right? Inside of trading ranges just remain to be very much no trade zones in here for me. Oh, nice. Look at that. Okay, so long ago I tried to set up a hotkey on my Wacom pen. So if you're looking at my pen right here, there are two buttons here. I tried to set up hotkeys on these a while ago and they didn't go through, but I guess the driver's updated because now I can erase with my button. That's fucking awesome. Nice. Okay. Anyway, sorry guys, I just get really excited about that. It's a game changer. Anyway, so within the trading range is a big no trade zone for me. Mostly like if you're not already in a position from down here, and here it's just low risk, high risk, low reward in my opinion. Like let your money work for you. And inside here, if it's just gonna be doing this stupid shit, it's not worth the stress or the effort to just sit there and watch it all day and get stressed out. So do you guys have any questions about XRP? How can I easily spot a trading range? So the short answer is it's not easy, but with enough practice, it can become easy. You just have to really know what you're looking for, and I really recommend reading Bruce Frazier's. Let me write this out. So Bruce Frazier has a really great blog series about trading ranges and how to identify them and how to trade them on stockcharts.com. I'll try to pull up the link and post it in here so that you guys can study it, but I really recommend everyone study it. But as I put on Twitter a while ago, that it's learning Wyckoff theory and learning Wyckoff trading ranges has by far been the most has by far been the most the single most powerful tool that I've added to my toolkit, because it gives you insight into the market that traditional technical analysis just doesn't offer. Let me find that. I'll post it. Where the hell is it? Oh yeah, okay. Wyckoff watch list. Let me find it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna post it in the what I just posted is, oh nice, Ryan Sturmer beat me to it. Okay. That's if you're not reading that, really recommend doing that. Link doesn't work. Interesting. Huh. The link is not working. Here, just post that. That's the text. I took off the HTTPS. Just copy and paste that into Google and it should bring you to it. I read tea leaves. It seems about as accurate as TA. Okay, well then there's no use in having you here then. So I'll just go ahead and remove you. I don't know why it doesn't work on Chrome. That's really interesting. I'm opening. I have it open in Chrome right now, so I don't really know. Also, guys, just to let you know, considering the events that took place last week, I'm gonna have a really, really low threshold for my patience with trolling. So whether it's on Twitter or in this chat, like, don't. I would not recommend trolling because I'm just gonna ban you. Um, I don't have the tolerance for it right now. So anyway, highly recommend that. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I think, oh yeah, so OMG. Oh my god, OMG. OMG is finally breaking out of this trading range here. So let's zoom in here. And this trading range dates back to August. So this was a long time accumulating, and I think OMG is gonna see a significant markup. Significant markup. So this is OMG, and if you look here, this was the trading range that it was in since the beginning of August last year. So August, you know, I guess you can argue 5 to 6 months of 5 to 6 months of accumulation in here. So I think OMG could easily, that's OM6, Jesus. OMG could easily go to triple digits. That would not surprise me to see OMG go to triple digits. So why do I think that? Because it spent so long accumulating in this trading range in here. It even retraced very hard, and now it's starting to finally see new highs. It made a new all-time high yesterday. It was like 29 bucks, right? And during today's drop on Bitcoin, it bounced really well. So I'm very bullish on OMG. And if we're looking at lower time frames like the 240, you know, it keeps going on these runs and consolidating. And that's just like very bullish. We're seeing run, consolidate, run, consolidate, run, consolidate. And now the Bollinger Bands are kind of rounding out here. So maybe we'll see some further consolidation, something like this, before it makes a significant markup. But this is definitely a markup, right? Telltale sign of markup is as it comes out of the trading range, it stops making new lows, right? So we see this very clear trend line here where it's not making any more new lows. The composite operator accumulated all he wants to accumulate, and now they're just going to push it up to who fucking knows how high. But I'm very bullish on OMG. And if you look at the BTC pair, same sort of story. Let's expand this. So if we're looking at the BTC pair, right? So it had markdown. So right around the time when OMG USD started entering accumulation, which is right around here, the BTC pair started marking down. So this is OMG BTC. Started marking down, and it finally found its bottom in here, and it began accumulation in here. And just a few days ago, right around the turn of the year, it finally broke out of the trading range. It did its retest. We call this the BUEC, right in here. And now it's making this like bull pennant sort of thing here, which if we look at the 30-minute view, that's a pretty sloppy bull pennant. But it is consolidating at higher values. The Bollinger Bands are already starting to consolidate. And, you know, we might see another markup on the BTC pair shortly. So what else? Neo. We can look at Neo. So actually, let's look at the BTC pair of Neo first. Wait, oh, I need to go to BTC. Sorry, Neo BTC. Let's do Bittrex, because it has a longer history. But if you remember the OMG BTC chart, it looks very similar to this, the Neo BTC chart, where it marked down, it found its bottom, it retested the breakout, and now it's ready for markup. So I think Neo still has some life in it. I don't think it's anywhere near its top. I think right now it's starting to do a reaccumulation. So if we look at the 30-minute view for Neo, let's look at the 60-minute view, a little cleaner. 60-minute view for Neo looks pretty bullish. So it looks like reaccumulation here. Let's do red. So here's a trading range right in here. We see the buying climax. We see the AR. You can call this a secondary test. This is another secondary test to the northern side. And now my guess is we're going to start to see a creek. A little creek here. As it drifts back down, the volume consolidates lower, and then we'll spring upward. That would be my guess. Oh yeah, so someone wants to talk about Zcash for sure. Zcash, I'm starting to accumulate Zcash and Monero right now because I think they're really good buys. So let's talk about, since I have Monero pulled up already, let's talk about Monero, because I think they're going to be really great performers. So okay, so this is Monero USD. Let's move this down a little bit. So here's Monero USD, and this is classic reaccumulation. Classic reaccumulation. This is reaccum right here, and this is on a macro scale because these are 2-hour candles. Well, not really macro, but it's on a pretty large scale for crypto, you know. And here's the trading range right here. So we see the buying climate. Let's label you black. Black. We see the buying climax. We see the automatic reaction. We see the secondary test. Doesn't quite make it. Secondary test. Secondary test. Really, I should probably move this blue line here. This should really be like right here. So this would be a secondary test here. We see the creek drifting downward on decreasing volume, and then it springs across the creek, and we know it's sprung across the creek because price is going up, volume's going up. We see the BUEC, the back up to the edge of the creek, and then we see a sign of strength here as it tests the upper boundary of the trading range. And just like on OMG, as I showed you guys a few minutes ago, we know this is about to be in markup, or we have a high confidence that it's about to be in markup because it's not making new lows anymore, right? So again, if you missed the buy here, the buy here, or the buy here, I would wait because I think it'll be worth your stress to just skip all this shit. wait for the breakout, and sleep better at night once it breaks out, right? Because I think it's going to be a significant markup. So this is Monero here. And something very similar on Zcash too. I'm starting to buy up some Zcash too. If you look at the BTC pair on Zcash, at a macro level, it looks very, very bullish. So let's look at the. So let's look at this. Would you look at that? Okay, so these are 12-hour candles. We see here that Zcash peaked. Keep in mind this is BTC pair, not USD. So we see here that Bcash peaked, not Bcash, Zcash. Jesus Christ, Zcash peaked right around the time all the other altcoins peaked, and then it began to mark down, and it had a very similar trading range as Neo and OMG, you know, all those guys. And now it's testing the breakout of this trading range right here. And we see here that's not making new lows. And most likely going to be onward and upward for Zcash. This is the BTC pair. Would you just look at it? And if we look at the Zcash USD pair, we see further substantiating evidence for this argument. So here's the trading range right here. Right, we see the buying climax, the automatic reaction, secondary test. You can call this a spring. I think it's safe to say this is a spring. So we see a spring here. And then obviously the jump across the creek right here. Boom. Jump that creek. We see another creek here. Boom. Jump across the creek. I guess the creek would be like right here. So this is a jump across the creek. This is a jump across the creek. And now we're beginning to mark up because we're not making lower lows. We're making higher highs, higher lows. And it looks ready to just fucking rip it. So both the USD and BTC pairs look hella bullish right now. And I'm switching, like earlier when I said I sold all my XRP, I switched, I used some of my profit to buy some Zcash, some to buy some XMR, and some more Siacoin. So now if you guys want to look at Tron, for Christ's sake, fine, we'll look at Tron. Wait, what is this? What is the symbol for Tron? If it's not on... If it's not on TradingView, I'm not looking at it. Oh, is it TRX? TRX? There we go. I haven't even looked at a chart of this, so we're going to look at this together. Okay. Okay. I literally know nothing about this coin. All right, so first thing that comes to mind, first thing I'm noticing here, is it kind of looks like a little bit of a triangle / pennant. Let me turn on my Bollinger Bands. Let's get a look here. So this is what I figured. So, oh damn, they're consolidating pretty quickly. Okay, so here's a little pro tip, guys. Typically, when you have large parabolic moves like this had, my fucking god, I don't even know what percentage this is, and you see things like this, people are very tempted to be like, yay, yay, pennant, right? Fucking pennant to the moon. But they don't zoom out. And what you see when you zoom out is it actually isn't very consolidated yet, because this gives the illusion that this is actually going to be a pennant, and that, oh man, we're almost to the close of the pennant, time to buy, so we can go to the moon. Not saying that won't happen, but it's very likely that we're going to see more consolidation from this thing. So once it moves in such a parabolic fashion, a really nice thing to do is to remain level-headed and zoom out to the Bollinger Band, to the higher time scales. Right now, this is the 4 hour. And we see that the Bollinger Bands are not consolidated, right? So we'll make a little checklist. So B bands, consolidated? No. Volume consolidated? No. Price? Yes. Typically, this is a sort of a bull trap. This is a different kind of bull trap than what most people are used to. Usually, you see a bull trap where it's price goes down like this, it comes back up, and you know, they see volume going down. They say this is a bull trap. This is something different. Okay. We saw this with, we can go back to Bitcoin Cash and look at it, but we saw this with Bitcoin Cash, for example, right? So Bitcoin Cash had this crazy move, crazy retracement, and then it made this pennant like over and over again, but it would dip lower. And this is a sort of bull trap that people with a lot of money like to play with the with these parabolic moves. And what they like to do is they like to, so if they know people are gonna be looking at the 60 and the 30-minute view, so they're consolidating the price so that the order books get loaded up on the buy side, right? The buy side gets loaded up, the sell side starts thinning, and then they sell into it to drive the price down, and then they buy lower. So, if we're calling this the trading range, if we're calling that the trading range, I would like to see, so this is the creek, right? I would like to see more consolidated volume, and I think it'll most likely get a new low out of it, probably something around, you know, between 800 to 900 satoshis down in here, and from there I would wait to see what the price action is going to do, because it could go down a little lower. It could make a new low completely, right? Like it could go down to 700 satoshis. But I think ultimately this looks like accumulation, and it's just looking for a spring. So I would keep an eye on Tron and try to get in on the spring and not necessarily buy within the trading range, because like I said, inside the trading range is a no trade zone. You're gonna get chopped up and you're gonna lose profit. You're gonna psych yourself out, and it's just not worth the stress or the effort. So that's Tron. What does Tron do? Does anyone even know? Can someone explain to me what Tron does? Oh yeah, someone's requesting BCH. Yeah, we're for sure gonna look at Bitcoin Cash. Something about media content. Interesting. Yeah, I know. What's his face from Consensus? Andrew Keys. Did I just fuck his name up? Andrew Keys. He was shitting on consent. He was shitting on Tron the other day. So, yeah, who knows? All right, let's look at, for Christ's sake, we'll look at Ether. Oh my God, Ether USD. Okay, so first we're gonna look at the BTC pair because I think that's way more interesting and way more telling about what the price action's in store for Ether USD. So if we actually look at the 1-day chart, we see a very fractal market. Get out of here. So we look at the 1-day chart, we see a very fractal market that likes to behave fractally. So let's take a look at that. We see here back in 2015, this is 2015, we saw a significant markup in Ether price. Then around March, the BTC pair started to top out, started to even mark down until about the turn of the year, where it made a nice trading range in here, where it accumulated, and then it just went popped upward, which led to our current price run that brought us to 420. This would be the 420 spot right here. And here's where it broke out, right? So boom, did reaccumulation, it broke out, did some reaccumulation in here, and ultimately sold off down into the markdown. And so right now we're in the we're in the reaccumulation phase. So if you're going to compare our current price action to previous price action, right? Let's sketch it. Oops. Let's sketch it out. So here's our current trading range, right? Here's the previous trading range. Be like something like that. With there being lots of overhead resistance here. And so you can see here, once it broke through the overhead resistance, it really just skyrocketed. So right now, if you're going to compare this to this, we are right here. We're just now encountering the overhead resistance, right? It poked through a little bit, but I would not at all be surprised, especially after this run, to see some consolidation for a good chunk of time. Especially if Bitcoin just absolutely dumps. You know, if BTC dumps, then ETHUSD is going to dump. And then that'll cause some consolidation in here. So keep that in mind that let's do green. So we were here, and now we're here. So that's ETH Bitcoin. And from there you can extrapolate the USD pairs. So I'll let you guys do that. Because I think this is more of a profound discovery than anything the USD pairs are doing. And then of course, Bitcoin Cash. We'll look at Bitcoin Cash. I have very high hopes for Bitcoin Cash right now because I think it's accumulating on the BTC pair. So let's look at that, and then we'll talk about it. And actually, if you look at Bitcoin Cash, like on a macro level, it looks like macro accumulation. But anyway, so let's draw some similarities to previous price movement. So, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So let's actually look at the USD pair first, and then we'll look at the Bitcoin pair. So let's get rid of you. This shouldn't be too messy for you guys to see, but so it's doing something very similar to what it did before. So this was the run that like really got everyone's attention. You know, it peaked and I made this like symmetrical triangle here. And so if we look at it, let's label some numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2. Let's say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's going back down, and I think this might be the last drop before it pops. So why do I think that? Although it's poking below the symmetrical triangle, I think it's totally possible because if we look at the BTC pair, it looks like accumulation. So here's the BTC pair. BTC pair is in a nice trading range. There we go. So BTC pair is in a nice trading range. So we see the buying climax right here. So buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, secondary test. These are tests to see how high they can push the market. And when they see that the market's not ready to go along with it, we see that this is called the creek. It drops below the trading range. We see a spring. We see a jump across the creek. We see a jump across the creek. And now we're nearing the bottom of the trading range, where I think we'll see some significant movement as it begins its markup. So BCH is on my radar. I'm holding a lot of it at the moment because I think it's about to be a nice markup phase in the near future. And then for the people requesting Siacoin, which I'm particularly excited about, let's look at the 720-minute view. Oh my god, these B bands are so blown out because of the previous run. So Siacoin went through. So Siacoin went through a really nice accumulation phase. So this is the USD pair, by the way. And here's the trading range right here. Okay, so here's where it did all the accumulation, and here, oops, let's label you red. Okay, so a breakout above this is where the real fun takes place. So a few weeks ago, we identified that this was an accumulation trading range, and oh my God. My dog's barking if you can hear. She's excited about something. Hold on, let me go shush her. I don't know what she's barking at. Hey, I'm trying to stream. Be quiet. Get in here. Come on. Go. What are you barking at? There's literally nothing out there. Sorry. She was barking at some asshole at the pool. So, totally separate note. That reminds me to remind everyone to buy some Dogecoin. This stream is brought to you by Dogecoin. Don't be a dog, buy Dogecoin. All right, shameless plug. So, Siacoin here. That was a joke for all you socially awkward fucks who can't figure that out, by the way. That wasn't financial advice. Don't sue me. Don't contact the SEC. Jesus. Anyway, so here's the trading range, and here, so we bought. I think we started buying it at like 0.007x, like low 0.7, low 0.7 cent range right in here, and it's just seen crazy markup. So. Since we started buying it, it's up like 11 to 12x or something like that at its peak. So where does that leave it, right? We're seeing something very, very promising here. Volumes or price is going up, but so is the volume, which means this is just like, I'm very bullish on Siacoin at the moment. So if we look at Siacoin from the last move here, so it jumped from 3 cents, so 0.03 right here, up to like 11, basically 11.5 cents here. So crazy run in a very short amount of time. And so you see here the Bollinger Bands here are just like very overblown. But what's very bullish about it is, you know, I said the overall volume's increasing, but it's consolidating at these very high price levels, and it's consolidating near the midline of the Bollinger Bands, which, if we look closer, are actually consolidating. So we see the Bollinger Bands are squeezing. So we see the bulge, and now it's squeezing, and now when we go to the higher time frames, like the 4-hour view, they're starting to squeeze as well. So if we look historically with these big moves, this thing likes to move on 6-hour squeezes and 12-hour squeezes. So we see all the big moves have happened on the 12-hour squeezes. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I think we're going to see some pretty massive consolidation right in here. But it likes to consolidate in these little like triangle fashions. Totally possible we could see something like this, but you know, at the moment it had such a crazy strong move that I think some consolidation would do it some good. But overall, I'm very bullish on Siacoin. Yeah, I like it. How long have I been streaming? What are we on right now? Hour and 20-minute stream? Good God, my throat is dry. What position would you wait for on Siacoin if you missed the boat? I can't give out that information. Yeah, so you guys want to look at EOS. Apparently I've been saying it wrong this whole time. It's called EOS, I believe. EOS. EOS. If we look at the, so yeah, let's take a look at this. I've been slowly accumulating EOS as well because it looks bullish, and the actual, from what I understand of like the fundamentals of it, it looks pretty good. So if we look at EOS, is it supposed to be non-log? So let's just a recap for those who don't know. It had a pretty staggering accumulation phase for 2 to 3 months. In here, we see the jump across the creek here. We see the markup, the BUEC, and now, I'm sorry, we see the jump across the creek. We see the sign of strength. We see the BUEC, and now we're seeing markup here. And it's well confined within this sort of expanding channel thing. I forget what the formal name of it is. But this is bullish right here when it starts expanding like that. And it's expanding on expanding volume too. So volume's going up, which is good. And now it's going through a very significant reaccumulation phase, I believe, which is ready for markup. Because, so we see the, so this is the reaccumulation phase, and it's just following this trend line really nicely as it finally consolidated. And it's making no new low. I guess you can look at this, but this is an outlier from the Bitcoin because look, it immediately bounced. So it's not really making new lows, and it's about to test the upper boundary of the trading range up in here. So EOS looks pretty bullish in my opinion, and I'm starting to accumulate on the dips. And same story on the Bitcoin pair as well. So it's doing this accumulation sort of dealio here, and now it's testing the upper boundary of the trading range. So it looks very bullish overall. It kind of has this like same, yeah. So if you look here on the Bitcoin pair, the accumulation looks a little bit more obvious, right? So if we're on the Bitcoin pair. Come here, pen. The fuck? Okay. Guess I won't get to draw today. So if you look here, add an accumulation trading range. And it's been seeing this like expanding sort of dealio, just like the USD pair did. But overall volume just looks like very solid here. Was that it? Bitch, let me write on my pen. Let me write with my pen. God. Piece of shit. Anyway, so point being, large accumulation here, and it looks ready for markup because you see volume expanding down here as the price is going up, and it looks pretty awesome. And actually, for those of you guys who are trading Santiment, I have the same sort of sentiments about it. That was a shitty pun, sorry. My sentiments on Santiment are also bullish. It has a very similar sort of market structure here. So it was like just suppressed for a very long time. Although overall volume's going down, it just broke out of a pretty significant accumulation and just did a retest right there. I'm holding a little bit of Santiment as well because, you know, it does these crazy price jumps. So this is why I'm holding it. So if we look here, where we are right now would be right here, right? So if this is going to jump, it would jump pretty soon, and it would see a pretty significant increase. So something to keep an eye on is Santiment. Hold on a second, guys. If you guys want me to continue streaming, I need to get more water. My throat is drying out. 1 second. All right, we're back. Refueled on some cafe. All right. So where the fuck were we? I think I went over all the coins that I'm keeping a close eye on. What do you guys want to look at? Civic. Yeah. Civic looks like poop. Off the table, Civic. Oh, S&T. Yeah, for sure. I was trading that for a little bit. S&T, that's status, right? Yeah, you can see the remnants of my chart on here. So I actually do have some thoughts on oh, what the hell? Okay, so should we do? Let's do Bittrex. Let's do it on Bittrex since it has a longer history. So I think status could have a pretty nice markup pretty soon. The 4-hour B bands are consolidated, volume consolidated, price consolidated. It looks good. It looks ripe. It could do one of these dealios where it consolidates and drops down, but the B bands are pretty squeezed. So, and I think it just got added to Binance too, didn't it? Am I remembering that correctly, or did it got added to Huobi or something? What did they just get added to? You guys tell me. It got added to an exchange today, I believe. No, it got added to Bitfinex a couple weeks ago or a few days ago. It didn't get added. It got added to Huobi, I think, today, if I remember correctly. Or it's supposed to be added today. would make you guys all yawn. But yeah, S&T looks like a nice buy right now. Looks like it's kind of bottoming out. If you look at the 30 minutes, it's kind of nearing its like little bottom here. It's a cute little bottom here. So we might see some further movement upward on status, but it looks pretty bullish in my opinion. What else do you guys want to look at? Someone's been spamming sub, for Christ's sake. We'll look at sub. Some obscure fucking coin on Binance. I mean, it looks bullish. I don't really know what to say about it. You know, we're seeing higher highs, higher lows. Volume looks pretty good. I mean, it doesn't, like, nothing strikes me as being like, oh, this is a great buy signal at the moment. Yeah, I don't really see anything remarkable about it, like charting wise. Except for the fact that I might have found a local top here. The 6 hour is very overblown. 4 hour needs to consolidate. I think it might see some lower lows, some local lows before it moves back up, but overall it's pretty choppy. But on, you know, it's continuing upwards, so I would look to buy the dips. Like I wouldn't rush to like buy anything significant right now personally, because you could totally see something like this, how it drops back down below the Bollinger Bands and then goes up. So be wary of consolidated Bollinger Bands on this coin. It likes to fake out and then go. Oh, let's for sure look at Litecoin. Sorry guys, I know some people were like requesting that. Let's look at no, not Kraken. Fuck Kraken. Where'd Bitfinex go? There we go. Alright. So Litecoin USD. The hell are you doing? I haven't looked at a Litecoin chart in forever. Whoa. So interesting. Litecoin looks fairly bullish on the macro scale. These are 1 day candles. The B bands are consolidating nicely as the price trends along the midline. If we look at the the 4 hour chart, it kind of looks like reaccumulation, if I'm being honest. Kind of looks like reaccumulation. So this is Litecoin USD. We see a trading range here. Something like that. And this might have been a spring. If I actually look closer, this might be... I need to gather my thoughts on this. Oops. Hey, relax. Sorry, my dog's just going nuts again. So this might be a spring right here because we see this little creek sort of action here. Let's make this blue for creek. So you'll see this like creek sort of action here, where the volume is consolidating, and then we see what can be argued to be a jump across the creek. Volume's expanding as the price goes up. This would be another creek jump, so this would be the upper creek. So if we redraw this, let's redraw this a little bit. So we go here, like that. This would be lower creek. Oops, this would be lower creek. This would be upper creek. And we saw jump across the creek here, jump across the creek here, return to the creek, return to the creek. So Litecoin might be a good buy in here because, you know, it had its BUEC here. It's not making new lows, so we could be entering the testing grounds for the markup phase. So Litecoin could be a good buy right now. We see expanding volume. Yeah, this could be a good buy right here. Why don't you use Fibonacci retracements anymore? I do use Fibonacci retracements. Looks like Bitcoin. No, it doesn't look like Bitcoin because of this insane run it had. This is although it's tracking Bitcoin, erase. Oh, what the fuck. Although it's tracking Bitcoin on its movements, its pattern or its market structure is different than Bitcoin's. Right, so if we just do a quick compare here, this is 2 hours, this is 2 hours, right? So right when Bitcoin was shitting its brains out, Litecoin is marking up. Litecoin looks way more bullish than Bitcoin at the moment. So follow the cursor up here and down here, you can see how it's tracking through time. Right. So it's a different market structure, and it's a different context too. So okay, let's actually talk about this. Let's compare these two charts right here. And why I think this is, even though they look very similar, why I think this is accumulation and why I think this is distribution. And it all has to do with the volume profile. So we see here that as this meanders downward, you know, we call this the creek, right? You can draw a similar pattern here, although it's, you know, not as clean. What is evident here is decreasing and consolidating volume. What is not evident here is decreasing and consolidating volume. We don't see that. And not only that, so we see as the price goes down, volume's consolidating, but as the price goes up, volume is expanding as well. We don't see that here. We see kind of just the opposite actually. As the price is going down, volume is remaining constant and growing. And as the price is going up, volume's still trending downward. Like, look at the blue line here. You see the blue line, how it's trending downward? So these are two very different characteristics. This is supportive of a distribution. This is supportive of an accumulation. And that's the big difference here, is that as it's trending downward and we see these jump across the creeks, volume is not looking nowhere near as crazy as Bitcoin's is. Someone's asking what mouse am I using? I'm using a low-end gaming mouse, but when I'm drawing, I'm using a Wacom tablet. Someone's asking what TradingView settings I use to get the black outline. It's this right here. You just open TradingView and go to borders. So if I turn them off, they look like shit, and if I turn them on, they look awesome. And same thing here. You can turn wicks on and off. I feel like the borders really help visualize the chart better. This is Bitcoin. This is Litecoin. Bitcoin, Litecoin. Litecoin, Bitcoin. All right, I'll look at like a couple more, and then I gotta like eat before I go trade. So let's go ADA. Cardano. Of course, this chart looks like shit. I don't really have any thoughts on Cardano at the moment. BTC. Because it's... Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts on this right now. I wouldn't be trading this because it kind of just looks like shit. And it's not within my trade strategy, so I wouldn't be trading Cardano at the moment. Schmidt, do you think consolidated volume is the only major factor for determining trades in crypto? No. No. You have to look at volume with price movement over a length of time. Volume with price movement is how you judge supply versus demand. Volume alone won't tell you that. You have to look at volume paired with price movement. All right, I'll look at one more. Strat. People keep asking about Strat. Okay, so right off the bat, this looks like accumulation. If I remember correctly, the Ether pair looked like accumulation a while ago. God damn it. Let's just do BTC. Yeah, this looks like accumulation here. It's bottomed out. So Strat BTC. Here's the trading range here. Right, so we see the spring. Well, you can not really. This isn't really a spring. This is more like a test. But what we do see is expanding volume on the rise. No new lows being made. Sign of strength here. Sign of what? Sign of strength here. And of course, it's seeing the breakout here. Volume consolidated, and then it broke out here with this price move. So Strat BTC looks like a good play. And these are 12-hour candles. What's the 120-minute view look like? Yeah, long term it looks like it's ready for markup. It's making new highs. It's testing resistance. Probably going to see some pullback here. But overall, it looks like it's ready for markup. It accumulated. And now it's ready to just go on a run, it looks like. Do you have any insight for when Bittrex, Bitfinex, and Binance will open up for new registrations? I have no idea, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad they did that. I'm kind of glad they shut down the registrations because it lets them focus on their product, and if new registrations are degrading service because of high traffic, I think that's good on them. You know, they're not doing anything with Kraken. You know, Kraken, or I'm sorry, do anything like Kraken, because Kraken. They just keep letting new people come in, and their service is just pure trash. They're pure trash. Their entire market structure is trash. Kraken is trash. And if you trade on Kraken, you are trash. No, I'm just kidding. But Kraken, like top to bottom, is just trash. CryptoWatch, trash. Everything, their trade engine, their liquidity, their margin lending, trash. Oh yeah, we're gonna release a new system update. It's gonna be, new trade engine coming. By the end of summer, they said. By the end of fall, they said. In December, they said. By Monday, they said. Dude, they're fucking, what a joke. They are such a fucking joke. Anyone who's ever had the displeasure of trading on Kraken, I feel for you, dude. I've lost so much money on Kraken. Not even based on, like, trades, just based on, like, the low liquidity, the errors you get when trying to close positions, just like absolute garbage. Anyway, that's all I got for today. This stream is brought to you by Kindness. Kindness reminding you not to be a dick on Twitter and release people's personal information. But other than that, if you'd like to continue learning and join in on the community and up your trading game and not receive financial advice, then I welcome you to check out bitcoinschmitcoin.com, where you can join the community and have access to everyone 24/7. And yeah, it's a really great service. If I didn't own it, I would be a part of it. In the 6 months that I've had it open, I've only had to kick 2 people out, one of which closed their subscription anyway, and the other of which I discussed earlier, where I forced him out due to his lack of cohesion in the group. So good group overall. We take care of each other, and yeah, that's why I've got the moderators in here. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat something because I'm freaking starving, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't ever trade, and don't stare at charts too long. Peace.